Speaker is David Barry of the World Meteorological Organization, and his talk is on the WMO Information System 2.0, WIS 2.0, and oceanographic data exchange.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so I'm David Barry from the WMO, the World Meteorological Organization. I'm a scientific officer supporting the WIS, or the WMO Information System, and I'd like to acknowledge my contributors with this work, with these slides. So Tom Kralidis from the Meteorological Service of Canada, Rémy Giraud from Meteo France, Pier, Luigi, and then Jeremy Tandy from the UK Met Office. And then there's also a much broader effort behind this work, and I'd like to acknowledge their effort as well. So we've heard some, over the last day and a half, we've heard about the WMO Information System in a few of the talks and the GTS. I'm going to give some more background on that today, starting with a background to data exchange in the WMO, key concepts and global services behind that, underpinning that, how publishers can publish data and how users can access data, and then how this is linked to ODIS or how we may link it to ODIS to make it all interoperable. So this really is tightly linked to Pier Luigi's talk. So in terms of background, within the WMO community and WMO members, the data has been exchanged in the early 1970s using the Global Telecommunication System. And this is a point-to-point network that's relatively closed, but was efficient and enables rapid exchange of meteorological data as part of the World Weather Watch program. The scope of this data exchange is broader than that, though, and does include other programs such as the Marine Meteorological and Oceanography program, and we do have oceanographic data on the GTS. Starting in the early to mid-2000s, a modernization of the GTS began with the development of the first version of the WMO Information System, looking to start to use the internet and the web for the data exchange. And this has operated in parallel with the GTS since around 2011. With the GTS mainly used for that real-time operational exchange and the WIS for the more delayed mode, but also with the real-time still discoverable through the WIS. From the development of the first version, lessons were learnt, particularly around metadata, granularity, and making it easier to use. And then, so building on these lessons, the second version has been in development the last few years, with the WIS 2.0 becoming operational in January of this year. And as part of this development, they've looked at using open standards, so standards from the OGC, from the World Wide Web Consortium, the Internet Engineering Task Force, etc. It's been built using free and open source tooling to really try and lower the barriers to entry and make sure everyone can use it. Using web technologies and services for the exchange of data and notification of the availability of new data. And it's designed to be cloud ready, so it can be run either in the cloud or on premises according to the members' needs. We're in the migration stage, so there's a 5-year period where we're going to work with members to migrate and other communities to migrate them over to using the WIS 2.0 with a target of having 90% of members and data exchanged on the WIS by 2030, and then with the termination of the GTS infrastructure by 2033. So that's kind of background. So the WMO Information System 2.0, what is it? How does it work? Underpinning everything is the discovery metadata. So it's all about metadata, being able to find the data, subscribe to data. And within the WMO systems, this is based on the OGC API records rather than schema.org. I've mentioned notification a few times. So when new data are available within the WIS system, an MQTT notification is published by the WIS2 node, alerting subscribers to the availability of new data. And in that notification will be a link to where to get the data from. And this operates in near real time with the data being available a few seconds after it's advertised. We then have the WIS node, which is similar to an ODIS node. It's the data publisher, publishing both the metadata, records, the data itself, and notifications of new data. We then have a few global services that I'd like to highlight. So we've got the global discovery catalogs, so bringing all the metadata records together into those global catalogs, providing a search facility. We have global brokers. So we have almost 200 members in the WMO. Rather than a user having to subscribe to 200 different brokers, we have a small number of global brokers where all the data, all the notifications are published through. And this is also designed to be highly available and scalable, republishing notifications from the WIS nodes. Similarly, we've got global caches that download all the data from the WIS nodes under high availability and scalable architecture, and just cache the core data that's available for maybe 24 hours or around 24 hours. So we've seen the slide, I'll skip over this one in light of time. So in terms of sharing data through the WIS2, I probably don't need to go through these things on this slide for this audience, but I will do so anyway. So you've got the data set grouping all the data items into a single conceptual resource. And so this is bringing all similar data together and assigning a metadata ID to those data sets or to those records within that data set. Previously, it was a bit more granular in the WMO system, but we're trying to bring that together to reduce the number of data sets. All the statements about the data set in the metadata record apply to all the records in that data set. An example of a data set may be an ocean crude or ocean transect. It may be the deployment of an AUV, autonomous vehicle, autonomous underwater vehicle, or a glider, or maybe a time series from Ocean Observatory. As I said, the data set concept is central to the WIS2, with the publishers publishing their metadata records using the OGC API record standard or the WMO flavor of that, the WMO core metadata protocol version 2. The user search for the dataset using the global discovery catalog, and they subscribe to notifications through the global brokers. Within the WIS2, we provide 3 different access mechanisms, providing data in real time and near real time via the MQTT notifications. And so this is advertising the individual records or data granules. And so it may be an individual Argo profile or Argo dive or CTT cast, for example. We then can provide data in delayed mode via web accessible folders or file-based access. And then we can also provide interactive access to the data via APIs. Got a few practical steps to take when you want to share data. So it's identifying and deciding what data you want to share and the access mechanism and exchange mechanism, whether it's real-time or delayed mode. So I said with delayed mode, it's via web accessible folders, web service APIs. For example, ERDAP can be used here. And this is more looking at the static data sets with no notifications of new data availability. We then have real-time data exchange, and this is the same as delayed mode, but with the addition of the MQTT notifications advertising when new data are available. We've got the data policy issue, so whether it's core, open, and free data or recommended data. With recommended data, conditions can be put on the data sets, access control put in place, and licenses assigned. We then need to consider which data formats and standards are used. Once all those things have been identified and decided, the infrastructure then needs to be set up with the delayed mode access and the real-time access. The metadata then needs to be created and published either through the WIS2 global catalogs or via ODIS. And this is still work in progress, but an area where we're working on with Pier, Luigi, and others. And once all that is done, it's then time to collect, publish, and advertise the data. Accessing data in near real time. So as a user, I want to find data. I go to the WMO Global Discovery Catalog, find the records of interest published in real-time data sets. I find the topic they're advertising on. I subscribe to receive notifications. When I then get a notification of new data, I follow the URL to where the data are in the global cache. And that's for core data. For recommended data, the URL in the notification may then redirect to the WIS node itself, and access control can be put in place as required by the data provider. In terms of delayed mode, it's much simpler. As a user, I go to the Global Discovery Catalog, search for the data sets of interest, and go and access them through the WIS node using whichever access mechanisms are provided for, whether that's file-based access, SFTP, going to your object store, etc. And again, access control can be put in place as required, depending on whether it's open data or recommended data. So I'm just going to finish with 2 slides about bridging WIS2 and ODIS. So as a data provider, I may publish my metadata records to ODIS using schema.org, and the data I've then made available to user community 1, so the ID Ocean community. These may also be of interest to the WMO community. And so we're looking at how to bridge to the WIS2 catalogs and look at that automatic transformation to the WCMP2 records, and then provision to the other communities. We can look at this the other way as well, where the metadata goes to WIS2, to the user community, but also recognizing it may be of interest to the ocean community. So you're looking at that transformation to schema.org and publication through ODIS and onto that user community. And so just one final slide. Bridging to an ODIS. So this is still work in progress and really comes from the last data conference in Paris a couple of years ago and the last ODE session. And we now reference ODIS within our material in our guide to the WMO Information System as an example of that connecting different systems together. We're now looking to formalize this work through the JCB, the Joint Collaborative Board, Technical Working Group for Data Management, and in particular term reference 1, which is listed on screen here. The full terms of reference are also included in the IODE 28 Action Plan in paragraph 253, and this will also be presented to the JCB. And with that, I'll finish and say I'm here until Friday, so please do come and ask me questions at any point if you have any. Thank you.